tell them check out the blog, bro. YouTube channel called MKO. It's pugilism, boxing algorithm. M stand for Marvin and Kevin's initials KO. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the MKO pugilism boxing channel, talking all things boxing. Always remember, like, subscribe to the channel. More content coming soon, on the way to a YouTube near you. So right about now, just going to be speaking to you on Floyd Money Mayweather, his latest possible venture, something that he's spoken about doing, helping fighters in the future. He's spoken about possibly even coming in to train fighters. I've seen there's been a lot of footage around about, you know, him training his son. Even Manny Pacquiao, it's been footage of Manny Pacquiao training his son as well. And there's some channels have sort of put that side by side. And yeah, Mayweather seems like he wants to sort of pass his knowledge on. And he might, you know, you never know. He's spoken about maybe taking on fighters in the future. So yeah, I just wanted to share a little opinion piece on that. So yeah, just bear with me, just go through it. So first of all, you know, with Mayweather, he seems to be a guy that's like a perfectionist. So it'll be interesting to see whether he will have the patience to deal with a fighter. You know, because basically, you know, this is a guy who he's achieved everything there is to achieve in the sport. Multi-weight world champion, and he won these belts in different divisions, all while remaining undefeated. So he prides himself on that record, and 50-0 if you want to include the Conor McGregor victory as well. So he's definitely pretty much done what you can do in boxing. So you ask yourself, could a guy like that go back now to square one with a fighter and take that fighter all the way from the very beginning, the smaller shows, smaller cards, you know, and can he bring a guy through from scratch, you know, from the very beginning? And that will be interesting to see with a guy like him who's achieved everything, you know, money-wise, he's set, you know, can he go back now to square one with a fighter, with a prospect fresh out of the amateurs, and take them all the way? That's going to be an interesting thing. Will he have the patience? Again, there's a question mark. You don't know as yet. And you know, of course, we know that anyone who's watched him, followed his career, I've followed a lot of his career, most of it, and you know, he's an exceptional fighter. He was exceptional. He was able to really read a fight and read was able to really read fighters and read their body language. He was able to do certain things off of instinct. Like he would read a few, like it would almost be like a game of chess to him. He was like several moves ahead of his opponent. And you ask yourself, well, could he actually pass that sort of thing onto another fighter? And it would be interesting, because I think some of the things that he was able to do in a boxing ring, you can't really teach it, because it's instinct. The things he was able to do a lot of the time, a lot of the genius things he was able to do was done on instinct. It's just his instinct that he has. And I think things like that, you almost can't really pass that on to someone else, because it's your instinct. You're doing it naturally. And also, you know, you ask yourself, can the ingenious student, you know, you think of, there's experts in all sorts of fields, theology, philosophy, biology, chemistry, whatever, you name it. There's experts in all these different fields, engineering. And in this case, you ask yourself the question, you know, can the great student who got all A's and who was an excellent student of boxing, an excellent practitioner, but now the question is, can he, as a trainer, actually communicate this information to somebody else? And that's always an acid test for anybody in any field, because there's a lot of people who are experts in all different types of fields, whether it be science or mathematics or whatever. And the thing with these people is that they're all ingenious in their own way, but them being geniuses in their field doesn't always translate to being able to pass knowledge on, being able to actually teach. And that's an interesting thing, because you know, you can be an expert in something, you can know how to do something, and you can have your technique of doing it, but that doesn't automatically translate into you now being able to effectively communicate and effectively pass that on to another person. And that's going to be the test. If he does do it, can he actually do it? Does he have both skill sets? Because in boxing, you know, it's a psychological thing as well, because he'll have to deal with the psychological side, where you've got to know sort of how to get your fighter to train properly, and you've got to know what motivates your fighter, what makes them tick, you know, because in boxing there's no one size fits all methodology. So with Floyd, with Mayweather, you know, it's going to be a case of, you know, does he have the patience? Does he have the, you know, will his ego allow him to possibly look to other trainers and look to other fighters who may have, you know, retired before him or whatever, and look at techniques and look at how to learn and sort of glean from others, you know, because he's, you know, unlike other trainers, because with boxing you often find that the trainers that are the best are normally not the best fighters. When they were fighting, they're normally not the best fighters. You know, the all-time great fighters normally will not turn out to be the all-time great trainers. You know, there's probably mental reasons behind that, and maybe because they feel they've achieved everything, so their ego won't allow them to go back to square one. And yeah, for me, with the great trainers, they're normally people that have had to sit under the tutelage of somebody else. Like I can recall, I think, if I'm not mistaken, like Freddie Roach, he was a decent fighter. Now he's become an exceptional trainer, but he was under the tutelage of, I think, Eddie Futch. And the same with Teddy Atlas, you know. I don't know how he was as a fighter. I don't think he was a great fighter, but he was under the tutelage of Costamato, and he had to humble him. These guys, you know, that's just two, but they both had to be under the tutelage of somebody who they look up to and humble themselves and really glean from that person's knowledge. And in Mayweather's case, you wonder, can he, you know, sit under somebody's tutelage and really just glean from their knowledge? Because it's training versus fighting are two very different things, you know, because and doing one doesn't mean you can necessarily do the other, you know. So he will need, I think, to learn from other people and glean knowledge from other trainers that are around. And that might be hard for someone like him to do, because he's a superstar, he's achieved everything, he's got all the money in the world. So will he be humble enough to take advice from people? You know, that's going to be another question mark. And I think overall the bottom line with him is that he definitely does have the potential to be a very good trainer, but there's still question marks over it, because you know, training is more of it's a different animal, it's a different beast than the boxing itself, than being able to fight itself. You know, it's going to take him channeling or dialing into a different part of his brain, a different part of his mind. He's going to have to now know and get to know fighters better, and he's going to have to know, you know, how to get the best out of each of his fighters. So it's going to be difficult, and it'll be interesting to see what he does, because I think, in my view, yeah, he's definitely got the potential to do it, to become a great trainer. But I think there's still, because of how good he was as a fighter, and how, you know, far he went and everything and what he achieved, I think it's going to be hard for him to humble himself and to go back to square one. But I think absolutely, the potential's there, all the foundation that you could ever want to be an exceptional trainer. All that potential is there with Mayweather. He's got the foundation, but obviously it will be a long road if he decides to do it. So yeah, it will be interesting going forward. He's definitely got all the potential in the world to be a great trainer, but again, just because he has the potential does not guarantee success. And that's the thing. I'd say he's definitely got the potential, but the success is not guaranteed because, you know, again, it depends on who he trains. It depends on a lot of factors. So yeah, we'll see what happens once boxing resumes after this this lockdown. Until then, it is MKO Pugilism, over and out.